लोचनं दृक् दृश्यादिवृत्तयः साक्षी दृगेव न तु दृश्यते नीलपीतस्थूलसूक्ष्म रसतीयकादिभेदतः नानाविधानि रूपाणि पश्येल्लोचनमेकदा आद्यमान्द्यपटुत्वेषु नेत्रधर्मेषु चैकदा संकल्पयेन्मनः श्रोत्र त्वगादौ योज्यतामिदम् संकल्पसन्देहो श्रद्धा श्रद्धे धृतितरे ह्रीर्भीर्भीरित्येवमादि आश्रयत्येकदाचितिः. Any questions anybody has got? Anyway, you will get time to discuss today and afterwards. Shall we move forward? Start the prayer. स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवम् सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् परमानन्दमाधवम्. The three laws of Drig, Drishya, Viveka. Law 1, and the seen are different. Law 2, seen. Law 3, that we have shortened into the seer remains changeless. Okay. All right. So we saw what do you call gradation of the seen and the seer, right? So first we started with the form, which represents also color, which represents also, say, smell, touch, heat, cold, Meaning anything that we are aware through the senses. Right? So that is the seen. We started from that. And then we said the seer is the eye. In other words, eye here stands for all the senses. Right? So the seer is the senses. Now the senses also become the seen. And the seer becomes mind. The mind also becomes the seen. And I, the consciousness. The one who is knowing. The knower. The true, ultimate knower. And because it is knower, it should be of the nature of consciousness. It can't be inert to know, is it not? It is the ultimate knower. Therefore, the knower should be endowed with the capacity to know. And the capacity to know is the sense of awareness or consciousness. And therefore, it is of the nature of consciousness. It has consciousness. It is of the nature of consciousness. So this ultimate knower, the consciousness, becomes the seer. And what happens to the mind? It becomes a see. So now you have this ultimate knower. Why we call it as ultimate knower is because it does not become the known. The mind is knower, but mind becomes the known. Therefore, it does not enjoy absolutely the status of the knower, the seer. Now, let me ask you a question. Yes, all of you know that the ultimate knower, which does not become the known, is what? The consciousness. Correct? The self. The true self. Why do we call this ultimate seer the self? Applying the second law. What does the second law state? I am the seer, not the seen. So applying this principle, what do you come to? You come to this ultimate knower is a seer, ultimate seer is a self. Now, if you look at the senses, if you look at the mind, they are relatively knowers, not absolutely knowers. Relatively. In Sanskrit for relatively, use the word sapekshika. The word relative is sapekshika. And the word absolute is nirapekshika. Two new words I am giving you. Sapekshika means with respect in a particular state, fulfilling certain conditions. Sapekshika. And nirapekshika, without any apeksha. Without any apeksha means without any ifs and buts. With respect to the senses, we should say, if the object is there as the seen, the eye is the seer. You see? That if goes there. Now with respect to the senses, we should say, if the senses become seen, then the mind is the seer. If the mind becomes, if and but is there, you see. So that is called as sapekshika. Whereas the pure consciousness, you have to always say, it is ever the seer. You can never make it the seen. You cannot say, if the consciousness becomes the seen. You can never say that. Because consciousness is ever the seer. So what is the nirapekshika? Two words, right? Nirapekshika, sapekshika. What is the nirapekshika drashta? Seer. Drig. What is the nirapekshika drig? Consciousness. What is a sapekshika drig? Start from the beginning. Eyes, mind. Yeah. So, in the two categories of Drig and Drishya, the Nirapekshika Drig is consciousness, and the Sapekshika Drig is senses and mind. Now, one question for you to answer. What is the Sapekshika Drishya? Careful, not an easy question. Correct. Sapekshika is relative, no? If you say Sapekshika, okay, let us start. Mind is Sapekshika? Yes. Eyes are Sapekshika? Yes. What about form, Rupam? They are not Sapekshika, they are Nirapekshika. Ever they are the same. So now if we want to answer this question, what is the Nirapekshika Drig? Consciousness. What is the Nirapekshika Drishya? Rupam, object. Okay? You're following, na? So now we have seen Sapekshika, Nirapekshika, we have seen. Now it is time to differentiate the properties of the Sapekshika Drigs with the Nirapekshika Drig. I am using now term now. When I say Sapekshika Drig, what all you should bring there? Start from senses. Senses, mind. And what is the Nirapekshika Drig? Chaitanya, consciousness. And this consciousness is called as, what term we have given for this consciousness? Sakshi. Why did we call it as Sakshi? Because it does not change with respect to the changes it sees. So now we are going to differentiate the various Drigs. The various Drigs means the eye, the mind, and what is the category they fall into? Sapekshika Drig. These two we are going to differentiate with the consciousness, which is Nirapekshika Drig. So that is the next verse. Let us see.
Nodeti nastametyesha
Nodeti nastametyesha
na vruddhim yati nakshayam
nakshayam
swayam vibhatyathaanyani bhasayet sadhanam vina
Bhasayet sadhanam vina
Nodeti nastametyesha na vruddhim yati nakshayam swayam vibhatyathaanyani bhasayet sadhanam vina.
Nodeti. Nodeti na udeti. Now you just see, how the words I am breaking, okay? Nodeti, how I have broken? Na udeti. Na astam yeti is the next word, right? Na astam yeti. So, na astam yeti. Second sentence. Yesha. Yesha is this one. It does not udeti, it does not rise. Astam, you say Surya Udaya, we say, is it not? The sun rises and the sun sets, we say. Na udeti, this does not rise. When you're talking of Yesha, Yesha is this. So this Yesha Chitihi, this consciousness, which we have given the name Sakshi, It does not rise. It does not rise means what? It does not have birth. We are comparing, what is the point now? We are comparing the Sapekshika Drig with the Nirapekshika Drig. Meaning, we are comparing the mind and the senses with the consciousness. And the consciousness is what? It is not born. It does not come up. It does not come up. The senses come up and go. The mind comes and goes. And therefore, the knowership or the seership of the senses come and go. Yes or no? Suppose at this point of time, the mind is not there with the ear. Then what happens? The ears do not hear. I'll explain a little more, but just main point you see. The senses rise, the mind arises, whereas the consciousness does not arise. Why does not it arise? You ask yourself, okay? Don't ask me. Because we're talking of yourself now. We're not studying some potassium sulfate. Therefore, you ask me, what is the property of potassium sulfate, copper sulfate? And I say it burns with a blue light. I have to tell you. But here you're talking of consciousness, na? Does the sense rise? Yes. In a waking state it rises. When you are in dream state, the senses are not there. And in deep sleep state, of course, senses are not there. In dream state, when we dream, we see an elephant. Huh? In dream state, it's an elephant. But are you seeing it with your eye? No. It is a mind. The mind has become the elephant there. Right? We are not seeing the sense with the senses, the elephant. It is an internal creation. So in dream state, what happens to the senses? Senses have gone to sleep. Astameti. And in the waking state, what happens to the senses? They come about. So senses come about in waking state, go to sleep in dream state. Of course, they are also sleeping in the deep sleep state. So now waking state. Waking state is now we are in, hopefully, na? All of you are waking state. Waking state. Dream state is when our own mind creates. And deep sleep state is what? When the mind, everything also goes to sleep. Deep sleep. And which is very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. And we will go mad without deep sleep state. So senses, they come about in waking state, udeti. And senses in dream state, astameti. They go to rest. Choicelessly. You can't say, no Swamiji, only my eyes, I would like to keep it in my dream, to see things. No. Not possible. It will go. And in case the senses are there, you can't go to dream. Okay. Now we have seen about one Sapekshika Drig. Correct? What is the meaning of the word Sapekshika? Relative. Next, what about the mind, which is also Drig? Does it have Udeti? Yes. Yes. Does it have Udeti? Now, after deep sleep, when we get up, what happens? The mind comes up. And in deep sleep, what happens? When from dream to deep sleep when we go, or from waking state directly you go to deep sleep also, it doesn't matter. What happens to the mind? The mind also goes to rest. Udeti astameti. Not only that birth and death are there, but also vriddhim. Vriddhi is growth. Kshaya is weakness, decay. Can the senses become strong? Yes. We saw, no? Andhya, Mandya, Patu. We saw. Senses can become strong and weak. Strong and weak. Suppose in the middle of a class, let us say, you feel tired. And what happens? Senses. You find the person shrinking also. Kshaya. And suddenly your friend. Vriddhi. Suddenly you see. Vriddhi and Kshaya are there. Senses. Same way ears also. Ears also. Yes or no? Yes. Are you aware of a sound? Vriddhi. But till now you did not even hear. Kshaya. Same way mind also. Do you understand? Vriddhi. Not clear. Dull. Kshaya. So the Sapekshika Drig has got many changes. Shadbhava Vikara, we say. Jayate, Asti, Vardate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate. Not required, all those things. Right? In other words, the senses and the mind undergo a lot of modifications. Can anyone tell me what is the word for modification in Sanskrit? Those. I think you studied some bit, na? You're answering all questions. What is the term for modification? Those of you who have not heard him say, please try. Modification. How many of you heard him say? Okay, so you keep quiet. You keep quiet. You also heard. Vikara. Vikara. V-I-K-A-R-A. Vikara. Change. So, if you want to say about Sapekshika Drig, you have to say Sapekshika Drig is Vikara. Meaning, has Vikara. Now, you look at the Nirapekshika Drig. Who is Nirapekshika Drig? You yourself, the ultimate seer. Now, you think about that. Now, you are there now, so you can understand about that, right? It is not something very, very, somewhere you have to go see and then come check out and tell. Suppose I say, what is is it raining outside or something like that? You look out window. It's not raining. Suppose say, is it drizzling? I can't tell from here. I'll check it out and tell you. You go out, check out. No, it's not drizzling. Now suppose I want to say, what about the ultimate seer? It's drizzling? You wait. I will go check out and come and tell. No, it's not like that. You just have to look at yourself. But the ultimate seer, suppose I say, what about the mind? How is the mind today? Is your mind happy or sad? Wait. Let me ask my friend and tell you. No, Because it is right within you, can see that, na? And more deeper than the mind is this consciousness, which is the nirapekshika drig. Now about that you tell. Careful. Because you have to see, tell based on your own experience. Does it rise? Does it rise mean, does it come about at a point of time? Is it there now? Yes, it is there. In the dream, was it there? Yes or no? Yes, it was there. No problem. In the deep sleep state, was it there? How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? Think and say, okay? You don't have to answer immediately. I'll give you a few seconds. In the deep sleep state, was the nirapekshika drig consciousness there or not there? In your deep sleep state, were you there or not? That is the question. I am not asking about your senses, because that we said it's not there. I am not asking about your mind, that we said is not there. In deep sleep state, you know what is deep sleep state, right? In deep sleep state, was this nirapekshika drig there or not? Those who say not there, raise your hand. Those who say yes, raise your hand. Those who say not sure, raise your hand. Okay. You see, in deep sleep state also you didn't die. You were there. You were there. Swamiji, if I was there in deep sleep, what did I see? You saw nothing. Why you saw nothing? Because that gives you knowledge of the external world. The senses, the mind have gone to rest. And therefore you saw the absence of all knowledge. And is knowledge of absence of all knowledge or not? What is there in my hand? I have to keep it down. Watch. What is not there in my hand? Not empty. Emptiness is there. Is it not? Is that not a knowledge? You can know something and you can also know nothing is there. And that is why after waking up, you are able to say, in deep sleep, I experienced nothing. How many of you feel in deep sleep you experience something? An object? No. Nobody experiences anything. But we experience nothing. That you should not forget. Do you have any doubt about that? No. You are absolutely sure that you experience nothing in deep sleep. But you experienced nothing. Na? And if you experience nothing in deep sleep, what does it show? That the ultimate seer, you yourself. Ultimate seer is who? I was there in deep sleep. You are able to follow? Think. So, na udeti. Because it was not born. You cannot say in waking state the ultimate seer was born. You cannot say in the dream state the ultimate seer was born. And you cannot say in deep sleep state that consciousness you went also to sleep along with the mind and the senses. When the mind goes to sleep, the consciousness remains awake. When the mind comes back from sleep, the consciousness remains awake. It was neither born nor it ends. It doesn't come into being it does not go back into non-existence. Who's saying? You are saying. Your experience, the text is telling. In Vedanta, whatever is said here, you must authenticate as right. Don't study Vedanta like mathematics, physics, chemistry, botany, zoology. In biology, how do you study? The brain has got some parts, they say, na? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, pons cerebelli. You studied. Then what you have to do? They will take you. And in case your school is a good school and it has got these kind of things, then they will show you. There is some thing in the formaldehyde, it is put there and kept there, and they will take it out and then say, this is called cerebrum, this is called cerebellum, this is called as medulla oblongata, and this is called pons cerebelli. And in case they can't show all those things, they have those kind of ceramic things made, they open it out and show for you. Correct? Here what you have to do, whatever you are studying here, you have to see for yourself. Does the ultimate seer come about? Does it arise new? No. Does it end? No. In all the three states, it is there. Okay. One point. Next point. The senses and the mind, their power increases and decreases. Does the power of the nirapekshika drik, you, increase or decrease? Can you say in the waking state you are a stronger, more knowing, capable, more, your capacity is more to know? Can you say that? In the waking state, the capacity of the senses is there. And the mind can come up and down. Suppose you overeat, and then you come to the class. Then what happens? Right. Now, that is the senses and the mind. No? But what about the consciousness? Can you say consciousness? For some time, sleeps. Consciousness can see the mind going to sleep. But consciousness by itself does not go to sleep. Its efficiency neither increases nor decreases. Yes or no? See it yourself and tell. Yes or no? Now, vruddhim yati. It neither increases in its strength nor it decreases in its strength. This is our experience. If I have to give an example, suppose there is now here lights have gone off. Suppose the light, right? Now all of us are seated here. The light illumines. And now after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, what will happen? All of us will go. Except few of them here will be there, will be arranging this or that. Then, after some time, they also will go. The whole hall will be empty. But the light which is shining, does it increase or decrease? It neither increases in its strength, nor decreases in its strength. It remains ever the same. In the same way, you, the consciousness, the nirapekshika drik, the pure consciousness, the sakshi, it ever remains the same. Mind can be there. And the senses will function. A lot of people are there. Now the senses goes away. Senses go away. Mind alone is there. It becomes less. Dream state. Now the mind also goes. Whole place is empty. Deep sleep state. What about the light? It is the same. This you are. Yes, you are. Why? This is the ultimate seer. So what is your nature? Your nature is consciousness, but what kind of consciousness? Without any changes, without any modification. And what is the word for that? Vikara or nirvikara? Nirvikara. So the difference between sapekshika drik and nirapekshika drik is this. Sapekshika drik is equal to vikara, or if you want to say along with vikara, sa vikara. Vikara is modification. Along with vikara, sa vikara. And nirapekshika drik is what? Without vikara. Therefore you say nirvikara. Whenever I say nirapekshika drik, what should come into your mind? Consciousness. And what should come into your mind? The ultimate seer. And what should come into your mind? I, me, myself. Do not study nirapekshika drik like some kind of something. We are talking about you yourself. You are consciousness, which is ekada, of the same nature, which does not change. Why it does not change? Now you see. Okay? Easy. Experience. That is the most beautiful thing about Vedanta. Experience. Your experience is a litmus test of whether this text is right or wrong. What this text is doing, it is only bringing it to your attention, which you are not looking into. So the purpose of Vedanta is not to teach you, but to bring your attention to. Is only to remind you what you have not seen, or what you know actually, but you have not paid attention to. So Vedanta does not teach anything which you do not know. Vedanta only teaches you what you are not seeing, even though it is in front of you. And that is why we say Vedanta reveals. Vedanta reveals. What is veiled? See the word reveals. There's a veil in that. Veil, na? Veil. We don't say veil. We say veil. So it's a veil. And what does Vedanta do? Removes the veil. And then you have a revelation. So one difference from sapekshika drik and nirapekshika drik is this. Sapekshika drik is vikara, savikara, and nirapekshika drik is nirvikara. Okay, now second difference. I am now going to the second line. Swayam vibhati. Swayam vibhati means what? Vibhati shines or reveals. Swayam vibhati. Swayam vibhati, it itself reveals itself. Which itself reveals itself? This consciousness, you yourself. What about the sapekshika drik, the senses and the mind? It is revealed by something else. Senses are revealed, seen by the mind. Mind is seen by the consciousness. But consciousness is seen by no. To know your senses, you need your mind. To know your mind, you need consciousness. To see consciousness, what do you need? Consciousness itself. It tells itself. It tells itself. It shows itself. Swayam vibhati. To see an object, you need a light. To see the light, do you need a light? No. Light tells itself. Correct? Suppose you go to a dark room, The room is dark. And then I ask you, is there a rose flower there? Please bring it. I want for puja. Then what will you say? Swamiji, light is not there. Now suppose I tell, see if light is there or not. Will you go there and say, Swamiji, I don't know whether light is there or not. Why? Why are you saying like that? Swamiji, light, to know light, I know light, I need light, no sound. Anybody will say like that? No. Light tells itself. To know the senses, you need mind. You cannot know the senses if the mind is not there. If you to know the mind, you need consciousness. But to know consciousness, consciousness itself is sufficient. Because to know light, light itself is sufficient. Yes or no? Do you say, to know consciousness, my senses are required? No. Consciousness lights up itself by itself. Swayam vibhati. So, this is called as swaprakasha. One more term. Swaprakasha. So, savikara, nirvikara. Swaprakasha, paraprakasha. Para is other. Differences. Sapekshika drig and nirapekshika drig. And one more difference you see. Atha also, anyan api, other things also, bhasayed, it reveals, sadhanam vina. This consciousness reveals its objects without any need for assistance or instrument. To see a particular form, you need not just the eye. What all is required? You require light. Only if eyes are there can you see an object? No, light is also required. To hear a sound, ears alone are not sufficient. You require the medium of air. Yes. There are a lot of things happening in outer space, but we don't get to hear that. Why? Because there is no medium of air communicating that. But something which happens outside, the crow is cawing. You get to hear. Because air is there communicating. Sadhanam is required. For the mind to know something, it needs a senses also. Senses require medium. For the mind to know various things, it requires a medium. But for the consciousness to know, it itself is sufficient. Senses to know the object, what is required? Light is required, and air is required. Sometimes liquid is also required. Suppose your tongue is dry and you're dry, and then you're in your home, your mother has you got a baby brother, and the mother has kept lactogen and Farex and all those kind of powder things, All these things are even now there. They're enough for children. And you see, mother has given instruction, don't touch it. That is for the baby. You go there quietly, night time. Wake up at 1 o'clock, go there and take 1 spoon. But you don't get the taste of it. Why? Because the tongue is dry. Then you have to wait for some time. The saliva will come. And then you experience the taste. For taste, liquid medium is required. For form, light is required. For sound, air is required. For taste, liquid is required. Like that you can think for yourself. So these require assistance to know. The mind to know the object requires the senses assistance. The mind by itself cannot know. You see? Whereas for consciousness to know the mind, any assistance required? No. It itself is sufficient. It reveals things without any assistance. It is swatantra. Independent. Do you need anybody's assistance to know your mind? No. I know. You are swatantra. They are talking about you. What are you? Vah. You are consciousness. Vah. You are nirvikara. And then what? You are swaprakasha. Vah. And you are swatantra. Have you thought about it? And if you take opposite, the eyes, the senses and the mind, now opposite. How are they? They are savikara. Then paraprakasha. Then paratantra. Not swatantra. Paratantra. Okay? Swamiji, how do you say all these things? You see yourself and you tell. Nobody is required for you to confirm also. Once you know. Do you require somebody? Or do you also think the same thing? And beauty is that everybody experiences the same. When I am saying yes, all these things are right, you are also saying yes, this is correct. And she is also saying yes, it is correct. That means what? We are all one and the same. Yes or no? Where is the difference? Body. Where is the difference? Senses. Where is the difference? Mind. Where is the difference? Intellect. Etc. But where is no difference? In our real nature there is no difference. And that is why we call Advaita. Have you heard the word Advaita? This what we are studying, is Advaita. Advaita is non-dual. Meaning, we are not different. Dual is different. We are not different. We are one and the same. In our real nature. In our real nature. This is a very important verse. And that is why I have given so much time for this. In fact, this is one more verse where you can say the text is over. Because this tells you exactly what you are. And the beauty of it is telling all these things in a way you can see for yourself and confirm. You don't require a mother's assistance, your father's assistance, anybody's assistance, really speaking. Shall we read this verse again?
नोदेति नास्तमेत्येषा
नोदेति नास्तमेत्येषा
न वृद्धिं याति न क्षयम् स्वयं विभात्यथान्यानि भासयेत् साधनं विना
भासयेत् साधनं विना नोदेति नास्तमेत्येषा न वृद्धिं याति न क्षयम् स्वयं विभात्यतान्यानि भासयेत् साधनं विना. So now can we put the tabular column? First you put, tabular column two sides. One you put sapekshika drig, and next you put nirapekshika drig. So under sapekshika drig, what you should put? What all things become sapekshika drig? Senses, mind. Sapekshika drig, nirapekshika drig. So first constituents. In constituents, what should you write for sapekshika drig? Senses, mind. And here, nirapekshika drig, what you must put? Consciousness / I. If you want, you can put true I. Real I. Not imposter I. Nirapekshika drig. And then what are the properties? One, sapekshika savikara, here nirvikara. Then underneath what you must put? Swaprakasha, Paraprakasha. And then here you must put Swatantra, Paratantra. Swamiji, but why we are studying all these things? Why? We are studying about yourself. We have not paid attention. That is why this is called Adhyatma Shastra. It teaches you about yourself. Shall we do one more verse? Or should we stop? It depends on you, Swamiji. It really depends upon you. You are Swatantra. We are Paratantra. Let me see what is that. Now, this verse we should do in the next session. The new thought. So, yesterday one question was asked, no? What was the question? No, you got the answer. Right? It is Swaprakasha and Swatantra. It's a Swaprakasha, it reveals itself. And it doesn't need any assistance to know the mind. It is Swatantra. Okay. Now, what is the topic now? The topic now is this. If consciousness is me, and this body is made up of material, isn't it? Body made up of gross matter only, isn't it? There's no difference between this and this, really speaking. This is also made up of calcium, carbon, phosphorus, magnesium, and I can't say uranium. And this is also made up of calcium, carbon, phosphorus. But this, if I touch, it knows. This, if I touch, it doesn't run away from me. So this knows, this does not know. Therefore I say this sentient and this I call inert. So, how does this body come to know? Next, senses are also inert. They are also inert. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, inert. Nerves and neurons, and then brain is also inert. Material only, made up of matter. But what a powerful instrument. Yes. And if you go a little bit more, mind is also energy only. It is subtle than the body, yes, but it is also inert because it is energy. We say, don't waste your mental energy on him. It is energy, it's a kind of a, but where does it get capacity to know? Meaning, how does that consciousness slip at the level of the matter and energize matter to come to know? Meaning, how do you empower your senses and mind? Meaning, how does a nirapekshika drik support the sapekshika drik? That is the next thought. How do you support your body and make it sentient? How do you support your senses and make it know? How do you support your mind and make it intelligent or dull? That doesn't matter. But how do you empower this physical, psychological apparatus? Next question. We'll take that up. Next session. Pakka science. But inner science. That is the only difference. Otherwise, the same methodology of study is adopted. There it is what in the physical science it is external observation. Here it is internal observation. But the methodologies are very, very similar. Both ways you have to use your intelligence to study. Okay. So Ved will, find out the questions for the day. And you share with them. Any questions?
You said consciousness is independent. Senses dependent. So why another person needs this person to function or to have a relationship?
It will come a little later. Little later it will come. Not immediately. It will come little later. The concept of Vyavaharika will be built. But after some time. So hold this question till it is. Shall we conclude? But I must really appreciate all of you. You are all really, what do you call? Following the thought. Good. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।